All right, looks like we are on air. Welcome to the Young Guns podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight. We just got Jacob and Jacques, or Pro Still as he goes by on his username. Thanks for coming, guys.
Forget about it.
No, you don't talk anything like that. You're Canadian. You can't even.
No,
Don't
don't
even
you
try.
even. You're from New York then. We'll play this game.
So tonight we're going to be talking about firearms optics. Pretty much a pretty broad topic. We're going to cover optics on probably mostly. I'm more interested in talking about it on, like on rifles for long range and stuff, but we can talk about it for all kinds of guns. But before we do that, we'll just go around and share what's been going on with us. We'll just go left to right. Jacob, have you been up to anything new with shooting?
Um, since the last time I've been on a chat, yeah, I got a Arsenal SLR 107. So I got that, and then I work at a gun range still, so still doing all that stuff.
Also, have you still been shooting your 308 long range?
Yeah, not as much. I've been working 7 days a week right now, so not as much, but yeah, I'm still shooting every now and then.
That's awesome. What about you, Jock?
That would work. So first off, congratulations on your SLR 107. I have a 107F, and that gun is amazing. Um, as far as me, I don't have a damn thing. Oh, I don't know if I said this last chat, but I'm going out to California for a road trip with my buddy. I'm helping him move out there the
Yeah,
end of June,
yeah.
start of July.
You mentioned it, I think.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Oh, dude, that's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, that's
We're
awesome.
gonna camp the entire way,
I'm getting ready
and
to
I'll
head
feed
out of
you
town
on the way back.
myself. I'm getting ready to head out of town for family vacation pretty soon. Gonna be offshore fishing and everything, so it'll be fun.
Oh man, I can do that every day.
I know. I kind of get. We've been doing it for several years now. We leave our boat down there, and it just kind of gets. It's sometimes it's more like work. It just depends on who you're going with. Take a bunch of
By the way,
newbies
my
out.
state has 12,000 links. I think it's not 10,000. I don't know why that's still on the license plate.
Wow. So, did you get your gun fixed? I know you. Was it
Oh, that's
your
right.
M&P, right? Was it
Yeah,
M&P?
I sent it in. So for anybody that ever is an idiot like me and just isn't patient enough to do a proper trigger job, um, Smith does not give the shield trigger bar to anyone. You have to get it through Smith via sending your gun back. And so I had to send my shield back, and we'll see how long that takes. I'm gonna be pissed off if they don't send me my gun back because I have $160 worth of sights on it.
Wait, you sent it back
Like
to
if they
Smith?
send me the wrong slide, oh dude, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh, they won't do that. You sent it to Smith and
Yeah,
Wesson?
you want to bet? I've seen some goofy stuff happen.
So you sent it to the factory?
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't matter. The factory can get stupid.
And how much did you call them and ask them like how much it would be or anything, or did you just say, hey, I'm sending my gun, I want you to fix it?
Well, I mean, I wrote them a note telling them what I did and how I messed up, and then I wrote like, if you guys could just send me the trigger bar, I can fix this myself, and that would save you time. And I was like, quick fix, and I had an arrow pointing to that line. So we'll see what they decide to do. Either way, it'll probably be like $50 at the most, so that's whatever. I'll have a trigger bar that I can't get anywhere else.
And you sent
So
them
it is
just
what it is.
the slide, or no, you had to send them the whole
What?
gun, but that doesn't cost
No, I
anything,
had to
right?
send the whole gun. Like,
Right, but you don't have to do anything like as far as FFL, anything like that, right? They send it directly. You send it directly to them, and they send it
no,
directly back to
it
you.
was mine to begin with, so there's no FFL
Right.
involved.
It's just
It's going
insurance
to a
shipping.
factory, which is the FFL, and it's coming right back to me, which is the user. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hopefully they'll fix it quick for you.
kind of sucks actually, but yeah, it's the best of the worst situations.
hmm That's awesome. I haven't been up
But
to much. Was you gonna say something else?
I got nothing.
Oh, okay, I thought you were gonna say something. Anyways, I've been up to too much this week. I mean, I think I already told you last week I had a really good match, and pretty much I practiced after that. Had a good practice session. Uh, Friday, yeah, last Friday, and then no wait, yeah, okay, I didn't shoot a match this past Saturday. Yeah, so last week was my match I did really well on. And then I didn't have a match this Saturday, which kind of sucks, but oh well. So I shot Friday, practiced Friday, and I worked on a couple things. Shot about 300 rounds, and I'm hoping to shoot some more this week before I go out of town. I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably gonna take my gun with me to practice, and I think there's a gun range where I'm going, so I might take some ammo if I have time to load some up. That way I can at least put a couple hundred rounds down range while I'm out there.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, other than that, not much. I built me some new target stands, and I'm about to try to set up some stands. I'm gonna build some and buy the hangers for them and buy a few more plates so I can set up kind of steel arrays similar to what we see in competition. So that's pretty much all I've been up to, just kind of upgrading my range, and then after that, my 308 is gonna be getting here. So Remington 700 308. Hopefully it'll be here this week. If not, I'll have to wait even longer to get it. But that's kind of what, like I said earlier.
The real question is, what kind of glass are you putting on it?
Exactly. That's kind of what I was interested in this topic.
Segue.
Yep. So, like I said, we're going to talk about optics. And I don't have a whole lot of experience with them. I mean, I've been shooting deer rifles, but I haven't like shot a ton of different kinds. I've never shot a ACOG or anything like that before. I've shot a couple red dot sights and pretty much your standard scope. So, not a whole lot of exposure to it. But what's your guys' favorite optic? I mean, as far as like brand wise, or we'll just say, what's your favorite optic you've ever shot? You've ever had the experience of shooting? Jacob, have you ever had one you really liked stood out?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, that's hard because just I guess it depends on what type of gun I'm shooting. Because I've shot a lot of stuff just through my work and stuff. I don't know. Red dots are always good, and then on like my go-to AR, I have a 1-4. So it just depends on what I'm doing and what I'm using it for. But ACOGs are nice. I mean, they're all nice. So just depends on the use you're going for.
Right. So
I
far,
pretty much agree. You have to define what you want to do with the gun.
well, let's start with rifles, because I think that'd be the easiest to talk about, since that's what Jacob's really interested in, long range, and I'm about to start getting into it. So
It's like 90% of optics anyhow.
right, yeah, that's where all the money is in it, most of it, anyways. So like, what about your favorite rifle optic? I mean, I know you told me you had a Vortex. What was it, like a 6 to 24 power? That's gotta be pretty sweet, right?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
a first focal plane Viper or PST?
Yes, it is.
Hell yeah. That's, yeah.
Yeah, I've never even shot a scope that high power. A magnification.
I think like a basis for scopes before we get any further. So do you guys know what first focal plane and second focal plane is?
I did, and I kind of forgot. I know it has something to do with it, how it changes the point of impact, like based on your magnification, right, or something like that.
Yeah. Do you know, Jacob, or no?
Yeah.
Okay. You can go ahead and explain it.
The simplest way I explain it to like customers and whatnot is with the first focal plane, your adjustments will be true at all distances, and with the second focal plane, your adjustments are only going to be true at usually the highest magnification. It has to do with where the glass is inside the scope and whatnot, but that's the simplest way I can explain it.
Wait, the what's going to be the same?
It's inside the glass and how it adjusts, but for the most part, on
Your
the second,
bullet hold over.
yeah. So
okay.
on a second focal plane, you know how when you adjust the turret, it'll say like a quarter MOA per click on your turrets. Well, on a second focal plane scope, that quarter MOA is only true if you're on usually the highest magnification. It'll tell you on your scope what it's true for, but it's usually only on the highest magnification. Whereas on a first focal plane scope, you can do a quarter MOA click, and at a quarter MOA, whether you're on 4 power or whether you're on 14 power, it's still a quarter MOA click.
That's pretty handy, I guess, for especially a long range type match or something, or like in a combat scenario where you're shooting anywhere from 500 to 1,000 yards.
Right. So you'll see a lot of the guys that shoot matches and stuff. They'll have first focal planes because they're using holdovers, and when you're looking through the scope and the reticle is, no matter what, when you zoom in, the size of the reticle changes, and so that scale is always the same. So you can use a holdover at 100 yards, and you can and you're zoomed in at say 4 power, and then when you're shooting 1,000 yards and you're zoomed into 12 power or 24 power, the holdovers are still the same and everything will work.
Yeah, hopefully, that's why I'll try to get one that has first focal plane for my 308.
Yeah, they're nice. Unfortunately they just cost a lot more usually, but I think it's worth it, especially if you're gonna do anything. I don't know if you're gonna shoot competition, especially. I would definitely get one.
Right, yeah. So that's probably. I was looking at the SWFA scopes actually. I'm sure you know Glock Guru. He's on Gun Channels. He's on here a whole lot, but he recommended it to me the other night. And they actually used to. I think they're still under contract, but they made a lot of military scopes.
Yeah,
So,
I recommend those scopes to a lot of people as well. They're very good.
yeah, and I was looking at two different models. I'm gonna get the 10 power fixed, or maybe even 12 power fixed, or either the 3 to 15. But the only thing is the 3 to 15 is like more than twice as much, which is understandable. But
Yeah.
it's really nice. So I may end up going with that.
And then with the second focal plane, and the difference once again on a second focal plane, your reticle is not going to change sizes, so it's all going to be like the same size reticle, whether you're at 2 power or 30 power. And then on a first focal plane, on 2 power, it's going to be a very small reticle, so that your holdovers are the same. And then as you zoom in, the reticle is going to grow. Some people don't like that, so that's another thing you have to look into.
So it's like when you say that you actually talk about the reticle, the whole reticle itself, not like the thickness or anything, right? Like,
Yeah, the thickness of it, like when you're looking through the glass, the thickness of the reticle grows or shrinks depending on your
okay.
application.
Oh, yeah, I could have no problem with that. That wouldn't bother me really. I just don't like
First focal plane is best.
I don't like an extremely thick reticle. And I don't like one you can't see, but I've never really saw one that was like too thin. Unless I was like, I mean, I guess if you're like in really
Go
bright
look through those
daylight.
old German scopes. They're really thin. Some of them
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, some of them they'd use like wire for the crosshair, right?
Well,
Really?
most scopes use actual wire,
Right.
like other than that's reticles, which is not very common still.
And actually, I've heard before, like some of the old World War II bomber planes, they would use hair for the bomber sights because they were so small, because they're so high that if they use too big of a sight, they
Oh,
would
for the
miss
bombardier
target.
targeting device?
Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, those things are awesome. They're kind of a marvel of engineering, and actually, they're like the most awesome scope ever, basically.
I'm gonna put an airplane scope on my rifle.
Well, could you imagine the guy that designed it? He's like, so we need a BDC for like 10 miles.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, what?
That's
Get
crazy.
on that, Bob.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the stuff they were doing then. So yeah, I was looking at the SWFA. One of them, the 10 power, it's pretty cheap. It's like $300, and you can pay $100 more, and you can get one that has a side focus. So what I guess by the focus it means like the
Are you talking about parallax?
yeah,
They call it side focus, but it is your parallax what you're adjusting.
right, it's one it's marked with yardages, right, that you adjust for how clear to get the clarity
Correct.
and everything. Yeah, so that's one of them's on the side and one of them's on the rear, which I really don't have a problem with it being on the rear. I mean,
No, wait a minute. Hold on. Jacob, do you know what parallax is? Because I've never quite understood it.
Yes, it's all these things like the second focal plane and all these scope terms are very complicated, I guess. So I always break it down into like what Caleb said, just the simplest terms when I'm trying to sell a scope or explain to people what a scope is. And so, like Caleb said, it's just basically the focus at a certain yardage, and it's usually listed on the adjustment. And so, like on mine, it says 50, 100, 200, 300, 500, and then it goes to infinity. And so I just tell people just adjust for what you're shooting at, and you're usually going to be good. But
infinity and beyond.
and Caleb, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it. I was just looking at it. I had it locked in on you. That's pretty neat. So okay, yeah. See, the top one. That'd be fine with me. Yeah, I mean, because I mean, if you're that close to it anyways, you don't need to see the target I mean, it's going to be pretty big anyways
Hmm.
at a 5 power range. But I could see how people wouldn't like that. But I mean, once you get to a certain zoom, there's really not a whole lot of difference.
First focal planes used to be everywhere. Then they just went out of style. Now it's second focal planes, and it's kind of starting to go back, I think, which I prefer.
Yeah, it seems like it's more versatile. So I mean,
Yeah, well, first focal plane is always dead on. Second focal plane, you kind of play in the guessing game almost. But
hmm
if you know your scope, it doesn't really matter. It's like,
So going back to parallax, if you actually, I've obviously always adjusted for the range. I've never messed around with it. If you have it adjusted, like, I mean, I guess you won't see the difference at closer ranges, but like if you're shooting like 800 yards or whatever, or say 500, I guess. So you can actually, will you see a difference in the hits usually? I mean, is it pretty noticeable?
Is it very noticeable? If you're a skilled shooter and you know what you're looking at, yes. If you're just a weekend warrior, you probably won't notice a difference.
I mean,
But
it'll shift your groups, right?
yeah, kind of like Mirage and all that stuff that comes into play. It's all in that category.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty neat. Hopefully, I'll get once we get this the rifle in, I get a scope for it. We have a club, a hunt club we belong to, but it's like an hour and a half away. But once I get everything set up, I want to go down there, and one of the parts of the lease of the club is like a 40-acre field, and so I'll go down there when it's not deer season during the off season, and I'll hopefully, I think the farthest I know for a fact that the farthest you can see straight line of sight is like 500 yards. The field's bigger than that. It's just that it's not flat. But I'm gonna go down there and hopefully set out some really far still targets and paper targets and take like 100 rounds or something and shoot. It'd be pretty fun.
so I've never understood why would you put a parallax adjustment and a diopter focus adjustment? Like, is it just doubly
No,
focused?
you would only have one. So it's either going to be on the dial opposite of windage, or it's going to be on the front of the scope.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Now then
I was like, wait a minute, that's way too fine.
well, and then you have the I guess that would be your diopter. So maybe I misspoke. But so there's the adjustable objective, and then the parallax, the side focus, I guess would it be? Those two are interchangeable, so the scope's gonna have one or the other. Now, almost all scopes have the diopter or the piece that you look through. That you can usually focus to your eye, but then the parallax will still change based on yardage. So once it's focused, that eyepiece is focused, then you're playing with the parallax from there.
So diopter is kind of a gross adjustment and parallax like fine tuning almost.
Sure.
Like to your eye specifically.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Sorry guys,
Thank you.
having trouble with the chat playing. So a lot of stuff that went over my head, but I wasn't really listening that well.
Diopter is the piece that you adjust with your hand at the ass end
Oh,
of the scope.
the plus and the minus thingy, right?
Yep.
That's what you have to adjust. That's like where everybody. That's for like your eyes, right? Because everybody's different. So, because I've experienced that before. Because someone else's rifle, I'm like, oh, your scope's all blurry. They're like, what? No, it's not. It's like, oh, well, it's because you have it adjusted for you. So then I have to turn it, you know.
Yeah, anybody that looks through my scopes thinks they're blind.
Why do you have really bad eyesight?
I'm going to tell you this and you will think I'm lying. When the cops came to my elementary school and they put my glasses on, they said they're the same prescription as drug goggles for most people.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding. They
That's
literally
funny.
said that to me. And I'm not sure if they were kidding or serious.
Like the beer goggles you put on in health class.
But- So, have you covered magnification and like the purpose of higher magnification and the real viability of it on certain rifles, or?
Well, that's the thing I was kind of looking at because whenever Glock Guru, recommended the 10 power fixed scope. It's a great scope because it's only $300. And another thing too that I've heard, just looking around, that if you buy a fixed power scope, you kind of get better glass because the company can afford to put better glass in it and not have to wait because it's more expensive to do the variable power.
It's all how they grind it.
So
It doesn't. The power, from what I understand.
I'm saying like that they can afford to sell it cheaper pretty much. It's not like it's actually changing it. It's just that you can get a higher level of glass without having to pay a lot of money because it knocks them off for not having a variable power. Because they increase the price. Like the one I'm looking at, the 315 power, $700, and then the 10 power is only 300. So it's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think I'd be fine with the 10 power or 12 power fixed. But then again, if I want to do I want to start shooting matches, I probably need a variable power.
A 12 power fixed scope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a 10 would be a good middle ground. They have a 6 too. I think it's a little too low.
What are you using the rifle for?
Well, it'll be used for. Well, my dad, he wants to use it for hunting a little bit. I'm sure I'll hunt with it some too, but I really wanted to just use it to shoot long range.
Yeah, because hunting with a fixed power scope, to me,
Right.
I guess it depends on where you are. But
It's almost it's like a scenario. Like if you're going out to a field and you're going to hunt a cornfield, oh, that's fine. But if you're going to go sit on a ridge, in the woods on a deer trail, that's probably not the best idea.
Yeah.
So, and that's why he kind of was like, man, I don't know. So maybe I can get him to. I think he's going to pay for the scope. I'm not sure. So if I can convince him to pay for the 3 to 15 power, look, the scope's really awesome. You should get it.
Scope is sweet, Dad. You should buy this for me. All right.
One thing I was trying to figure out is Jacob, do you know if SWFA has lifetime warranty?
I do not know about their warranty.
Because my dad was asking about that. I was like, yeah, that's a good question. I was like, I didn't even check. But that's one good thing I like about Vortex. They have lifetime. So
Vortex is oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of them. I was a distributor for them for over a year, so that's why I got to play with all their stuff and learn about all the ins and outs of them. And I'm a big fan of their stuff for sure.
Vortex?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
No, you have the 6 to 24 PST, right, Viper?
So I have the 1 to 4 PST.
I'm talking about for your long range.
Oh yes, I have the 6 to 24.
You ever use one of those 1 to 6 power HDs?
Yeah, at work we have one on a SCAR, and it's pretty nice.
The Razor HD or the HD Gen 2?
HD Gen 2.
Yeah.
Isn't one of them way more expensive? Or not? Okay, yeah, the
It's 13, 14.
The Razor HD Gen 2 is $2,000.
No, hell
no.
That's the
it's
MSRP.
1,400.
That's MSRP.
Yeah, no one ever pays MSRP.
Right,
Yeah,
I'm just saying the difference. The difference.
Regular price is 14, like you said.
And then the Razor HD, Razor HD is MSRP at 2,500. So I guess it's around 2,000.
Wait,
I haven't seen a regular HD.
I think you're looking at something old because I know they had HD, they had an HD, and then they went to Gen 2s.
Yeah, they discontinued the normal HD.
Exactly. So the normal HD, they're gone.
Oh wow. Okay. It doesn't say anything about it on the site, so I guess I need to.
I think, you know what? I'm not going to interrupt you guys, but listen, everything we're going to talk about, for anybody that's listening, go to YouTube, type in Tiborosaurus Rex, and just watch Sniper 101. You will learn everything you can ever imagine about long-range rifle shooting and scopes.
That's the guy who he has also Ralph. Oh, I call him Ralph. Recommended the SWFA. He said watch this video, and he gave me a link to it. He did a video, a 30-minute video on SWFA scopes, and I watched it.
Yeah, no, he is the guy that I send everyone to for any type of optical or long-range shooting stuff, because I'm not that, I'm not Mr. Long Range or Mr. Optic, but I know a bit. Mm-hmm. This guy blew me away, though. He's like, so I got your ballistic coefficient is that, and I was like, all right.
Thanks.
No, but if anybody has time or really wants to understand the stuff, just type in Tiborosaurus Rex on YouTube.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm gonna have to do when I start shooting long range is really understand all the formulas and stuff, and all there's a little bit of math behind it. So
It's simple, man. It just takes a
yeah,
while.
yeah, I'll probably just get me a little notepad and stuff and have at it.
Hmm.
So it'll be pretty fun. I'm pretty excited. I think what will be really the most exciting part about doing it is developing a hand load like that works best. It'd be the most fun part. Hopefully it won't take me a long time. Like hopefully it won't be very frustrating.
Have you talked about edge reticles at all?
I don't even know what that is.
Etched reticle is a reticle that's actually etched into the glass of the
Oh,
optic.
etched reticles. I've never even like looked into those. Like what makes it better? Like you said,
It's in the glass, so it can't be broken. Well, I mean, it can be broken, but then you're screwed anyhow.
then the glass is broken. So
Yeah,
you're
like on
you're
wire
saying the
scopes, if your
crosshair,
wire snaps, you're kind of screwed.
right? Yeah, you're saying it can't move or shift or anything like that. It's in there.
I mean, either way, you're screwed, but a wire is much easier to snap than like crack some glass in an aluminum housing that's purged.
Right.
Well, and they're not terribly expensive to get etched reticles on stuff. I mean, I got a Burris full field E1, and that's got an etched illuminated reticle. That wasn't even $300, but I got it on like a steel sale, basically.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even look at Burris. I forgot about them. They make some pretty decent stuff too, right?
I'm impressed by my Burris so far.
I only have one of their optics. I have their little red dot fastfire 3. It's awesome. But I haven't looked at their long range stuff. Look at them now.
For the
So,
money, I think them and Burris are kind of the best out there. Or
dude,
Burris and Vortex.
yeah. Without getting into the really high dollar stuff.
Well, that's what I mean. They're like the middleman. They're the like upper. They're like the middle class of optics. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, the Burris stuff isn't cheap. They got a 4 to 20 power scope, but it's like 1300, which I'm guessing it's a little lower than that on the shelf. It looks
Yeah.
really nice. So has a bunch of numbers on it that I don't understand.
Numbers? Like what? What does it say?
No, it's just the turrets is all it is. Where you adjust it. It's just really fancy looking.
Oh yeah. Anybody that gets an optic, make sure your adjustments are the same as your turret adjustments. Like if your scope goes in MOA, make sure both your turrets read MOA. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 'cause some of them go in mil dot, some of them go in.
Well, there's some that the turrets say milliradian, and like
Right.
the scope actually uses MOA. So I don't remember what it was. Do you know what I'm
What?
talking about,
Seriously?
Jacob?
Wow. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
there.
sorry, I keep forgetting my thing is muted. But you'll see some. It's not so common, but it was common a couple years ago to have your scope mixed with the turrets and the actual reticle on the inside. So I used to have MRAD, which is MRAD, say a reticle, and then MOA adjustments, and so it's just complicated, and you have to do conversions back and forth. But so when you're looking for a scope, try to get MOA turrets and then MOA reticle, or MRAD turrets and an MRAD reticle. It just helps a lot.
And that's the way I think the SWFA it says .10 MRAD turrets. So that means it adjusts in increments of zero point 0.1 MRAD.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that's mils instead of MOA.
Okay. Is there any difference between the two as far as the ease of use? Like, do you consider each one to
Which
be easier than the other?
which formula do you like more, and are you in the military?
Right. So the military, what do they use MOA, right?
MRAD.
MRAD. Oh, okay.
At least I think it's MRAD.
I've heard some branches use MRAD and some use MOA. That's what if I'm correct. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never served.
Yeah. I think most American shooters are used to MOA just because it's like it was popular forever, and then MRAD's kind of a more recent development. So,
Well, I'm new to both of them, so it's not going to matter to me. It'll probably just end up depending on what scope I get.
well,
I personally found it easier because I'm just so used to like all my other like EOTechs, aim points, whatever you have. I'm so used to just
MOA.
MOA. So one
Exactly.
click is a quarter inch, so well, not exactly a quarter inch, but for lack of a better term, or a quarter inch at 100 yards, it would be one click, and so one MOA is 1 inch approximately at 100 yards, And so when you get into mils or IMRAD, it's a little bit different. And so I'm used to thinking one way, so I just keep going that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of when I came to the conclusion of I was like, I'm American, MOA.
I'm American. If you're not American,
Well, I
you
mean,
don't shoot
it's
in the way.
loosely based on the imperial measurement system, from what I understand. Like, it's much more similar.
So the MRAD's more metric.
I don't know, but I know it doesn't line up as well as the MOA does.
Well, I think I'd like it better because it looks like they measure it goes in decimal points versus where MOA uses fractions, and I hate fractions. So maybe
You just said that backwards, I think.
I don't know the way they have it marked. Like
Yeah.
if a website like the one scope that's MOA, it says 1/4, so it's a quarter MOA adjustments, and then the one that's MRAD says 0.10.
Yeah.
So I think I'd probably like that better because I can't stand fractions. I've never liked fractions ever.
It's all going to be a fraction still, though, because you have to know when you do that 0.1, so 0.1 mil, how much that's going to adjust. Whereas I think it's easier, personally, I find it easier to know if I'm doing a quarter MOA then at 100 yards, that's a quarter inch. At
Right.
200 yards, that's a half inch,
Half inch.
you know. So it's easier to think in inches because then, I don't know, that's just what I'm used to. Like you said, as being an American, we're used to feet and inches and stuff like that.
That is true. I have
with that.
I have done a little bit of experience with that, so it might be easier for me to think that way. Because I don't. How do they do it in MRAD then? Is it just like in tenths of an inch? Like it's like, oh, this will move it 5 tenths.
It's not even tenths. I'll find it. It was like,
It was something really goofy.
so 1 mil.
Gotta love math.
So okay, so at 100 yards, 1 mil, so one whole MRAD is 3.6 inches.
Oh wow. It's a lot
So
different than MOA.
right, whereas
Whereas if you say like, because if you say, oh, I have a gun that shoots one MOA, it's 1 inch at 100 yards.
exactly.
Yeah, I have a gun that shoots one MRAD at 100 yards, so that's pretty crappy. That's pretty average.
If you're American, stick with MOA.
Well, the SWFA scope that's adjustable is an MRAD, so maybe I'll just
I
get
think
it.
you might have to switch scope.
People use both, that's for sure. I went to like that long range match I went to a month or so ago. I was asking everyone what they're using, and there's a mixed group. Everyone's using either one or the other. So
Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
you won't be missing out if you choose one over the other.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Whatever you pick, you're gonna get used to it, and it'll be second nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm just saying, like, whatever you choose, make sure your reticle and your turrets are the same incremental adjustment.
Yeah. So I think we pretty much covered some of the most long range stuff. Other than a good thing to say is like you want to have good solid mounts and bases because I've dealt with a loose.
Spend your money on good mounts. If you have a good scope and your mounts shake, you're worthless.
Yeah, exactly.
Scope's worthless.
Yeah, it makes it very frustrating because like I've done it before where, well, actually the scope was shot, but I thought it was the mounts and the mounts were loose, and I was like, I just wasted like half an hour or maybe even more, and this X amount of ammo, and then figured out the mount's loose. I'm like, oh well, that could have been it. And I tightened it, and then went back out and figured out it was still the scope just being crappy. So I took it back to this is my brother-in-law's gun actually. I was like, look, your scope sucks. I don't want to get another one. It pretty much wouldn't adjust enough to shoot to where the bullet was hitting. Like the scope ran out of adjustment. I was like, yeah, sorry, something I can do about that. So how do you guys, when we'll talk about setting scopes, because there's a lot of different theories on it out there. How do you guys? I mean, some people like think of it as you move the reticle to the bullet hole, and some people will think of it as moving the bullet hole to the reticle. I always move the reticle to the bullet hole. Pretty sure that's the way I always do it.
Whatever helps you visualize it, really.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you can adjust it so much one way that it shoots.
Yeah,
It's like
a lot of people get confused when you're starting out. They don't know which way to turn the turrets because they don't know what they're moving exactly. But say I shoot a group and it's all to the left, well, I want to bring that group right, so I just turn my turrets right. So I figure which way I want my group to go. If I want my group to go up, I'm gonna turn my turrets up. If I want my group to go down, it's down. So
Yeah, that's
I
the way I do it.
That's a
And
good way to
then
put it. Yeah.
you could, I guess you could technically, well, even if you move it to the left, the group would still keep moving to the left, or would the scope eventually catch up with it, or?
no, if you move the turrets to the left, your group's just gonna keep shifting far left, and it's gonna go out of your scopes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because some of them are backward, like the crosshair. Some of them, when it says when you turn the turret to the right, it doesn't move the turret to the right. It moves it. It doesn't. It moves the crosshair to the left. 'Cause it's like opposite.
Huh.
Because that's the same way with a pistol. If you want it, well, no, that's wrong. Pistol, yeah, because with a
You
pistol,
you get that on some guns when you're changing like maybe I think it's the AK. I don't know. It depends if you're moving the front side or the rear side. That will come into play. Then it's backwards. But for most any quality scope nowadays, you're just gonna move the turret just the way you want your group to go.
right? Because like on the pistol, if you want to move the sights or the hits to the left, you move the rear sight to the right because then it forces you to bring the front of the gun.
Just
No,
imagine
no,
which way
I'm
your
sorry.
front sight's going to
Sorry,
move
I
pretty
said that
much.
backwards. I said that backwards. You move the rear sight to the right, and it forces you to move the muzzle to the right to see the front sight, so it moves your group to the right. So,
Just
yeah.
imagine where you want your front sight to be.
Mhm. But yeah, no. How do you like to set your guns in, Jacob? Like, what's the best way you found? Like, because I know a lot of people don't like to set rifles in, because it can go out there and you can get bad technique and you might waste a bunch of ammo and it can be kind of expensive, especially for bigger guns.
To sight in my guns,
Like, what is your normal like process? You have a
to make sure I'm on paper and in a somewhat reasonable area, I do 25 yards first,
hmm
just so that you're not shooting way over your target or way under and you don't even know where you're hitting. So I just go one quick 25-yard group just to see where I'm at, and then I do a rough adjustment. And then once I go out to 100, at least it'll be in a 8-inch circle or somewhere, and then I adjust from there.
right. And that's kind of what I try to do. Is like I'll set up like at 25, 30 yards and I'll bore sight and make sure that it's on paper at least.
Yeah, bore sight is a really good thing to do, but everyone thinks it's like adjusting your scope. No, it's to get you on
No.
paper. That's literally all
Yeah.
bore sight is designed to do.
Yeah, and I don't even do it with I don't have a bore sight tool or anything. I literally just take the bolt out and have it sit
I
there.
was about to say that's the easiest and actually some extremely accurate way to do it.
And that's how I do it. And then sometimes I'll shoot two groups at that range. Like you said, I'll do like a rough adjustment. And if it's still way off, I'm like, what the heck? I want to, within a couple inches of the where I'm aiming at. And then after that, you back up and fine tune it.
So if people don't know what you're talking about, you want to explain it? Like
What, the
lining
bore
your
sight?
balls with paper and
Yeah,
like,
so like pretty much, well, you can do it with well, you only do it with like bolt actions really, or lever action, I guess if you really wanted to. But uh, if you take the bolt out, you can the bore right from the back of the rifle, so you can see out the end of the muzzle. So that's where the bullet's going. So you point it out so you can see the piece of paper you're shooting at. Generally, your paper target's like an 18 by 24 inch piece of paper target, so it's pretty big. And so you just look down the bore, like through the actual bore, and then you get it so you can see the target, and you try to get it lined up as close as you can to the bullseye, and then you don't move the rifle, and then you adjust the scope crosshair so that it's because when you move the bore to the paper, if your scope's off, the crosshairs are going to be somewhere different probably, unless it's already magically adjusted or pretty close. So then you adjust the crosshairs to the bullseye, and then put the bolt back in and shoot it.
pretty much keep your bore in line with the bullseye and move your scope.
Yeah, that's really the hardest part is keeping the gun still after you get it lined up.
That's why you buy a Tipton gun vise.
Right, that's what we have. We have a Caldwell, like a lead sled. It works it's okay. It's decent.
Tipton cost a lot for a reason. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, ours is $100, I think. It's kind of wobbly. It's all right.
It works.
Yeah,
it's pretty
like,
much all that matters.
I'll put it this way: I've had bipods. Like I think a Harris bipod is better than the lead sled we have, but it's okay. I like it because it's good for like reducing recoil and stuff. Because when you shoot, like when I shoot for groups, I'm not holding the rifle very tight. I'll literally just let it sit like on the rest and won't even like really. It'll just be like sitting up against my shoulder. It's not like I'm holding into the gun like I do when I'm shooting like at a target or something like hunting or whatever. because then you don't want any you don't want you try not to affect the gun. As least as human interaction as possible when you're firing, just a trigger being squeezed, and that's it. So that's how I kind of do it.
Have you guys talked about fixed optics versus variable at all?
Well, I kind of mentioned that because I was looking at the SWFA. They have the 10 power fixed, and then they have the variable. I've only shot like I don't even think I've shot one fixed power scope, or I don't even think it wasn't fixed power. It was like a 2.5 to 6, like really small adjustment. And other than that, I don't think I've ever shot like a high power or medium power scope that's fixed power. Everything I've shot's been variable. So I mean,
you have any input on that, Jacob? Like, you ever use the fix?
Yes, and if I had any preference, I would always do adjustable.
That's kind of how I view it too. The only real nicety to fixed is it's all like if you train with it enough, you'll know exactly when you bring that scope up. You just like you're in the world of that scope. You know what I mean? You know exactly what's going to go to happen to your bullet, and you're going to be so used to that magnification. You'll just be like, all right, I know that this is this far out, and I know that's that far out. And
right.
Fixed scopes are tougher by like design because there's no movable piece in them. And that's the only thing that's what makes the ACOG so brutally tough is it's not a movable piece. It's just housing with the glass in it.
And that's the way I know a lot of the military used the 10 power SWFA scopes for a while. I think it was I forget which branch it was, but I think they had a contract, and they used the fixed 10 power for a good while. I think it was on the M14s and stuff they used them on, or the M21s.
Yep, I remember that.
So that
I agree though. Work. Variable power is the way to go.
Oh yeah, it's more nicer.
Because we're not, well, at least I'm not like throwing my rifle into the back of a truck, like running down a gravel road and throwing it in the truck and just jumping on the thing.
Yeah, because I mean the military, everything's gotta be pretty tough. So
yeah, try really tough.
Yep. So yeah, that's why I'm really like SWFA 3 to 15. It's just a little more pricey. So, what do you think about different objective sizes? And I mean, I know most rifle scopes are 50 millimeter, some are 40.
Most long range rifle scopes are 50, but when you get to 1 to 4 power, it's like 20, 24, maybe 28, something.
Yeah, my 1 to 4 is a 24. My 2.5 to 10 is a 32, and my 6 to 24 is a 50. So the bigger the objective, the more light you're going to get in the
Right.
scope.
That's what I was about to say. The only two, but doesn't it affect your field of view too?
That's true as well.
So the only two benefits you get really from having a larger diameter objective is the low light situations, that if you don't have night vision or whatever, and
well, not just low light. I mean, colors are way more vibrant even in daytime.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, I know, because I've hunted with my because I've hunted with my dad's gun. He has a loophole scope on his. We actually haven't talked about loophole much. That's most of what I've shot on hunting rifles. Anyways, he has a loophole. It's 50 millimeter, and literally, you can hunt 20 minutes later with his gun than you could with our other 260, which had a 30 or 40 millimeter. I think it was 40. And because the quality of the glass is a lot higher, one's a loophole scope and one's a red head scope, like off-brand Bass Pro Scope. It sucks. So yeah, it's a big thing for hunting and everything. So Digital Prophet, he likes to go by his username, had a question. He says, if you're going to do an optic in a 1 to 4, or if you're going to, I guess when he says do an optic, he means mount an optic. Is a 1 to 4 worth the weight in glass, or should you get a 1 to 4? Should you get 1 to 4 or red dot or higher than a 4 power? So I'm trying to figure out exactly what he's asking here.
So he's saying if you're gonna put an optic on a gun, is a 1 to 4 power worth having the weight of a 1 to 4 power and a mount and all that stuff that comes with it, or is it better to just have a red dot?
Okay, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. long as you can master like throwing the lever on the variable optic, yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how far
And
you
with a
want to shoot.
proper mount, and just stress that because I'm assuming he's talking about an AR. Most people will want a quick detach mount for whatever.
Right? And that, I mean, that depends on what you want to shoot. I mean, if you're just like building like a go-to rifle, like you can still shoot a man out to who knows how long, 500, 600 yards with a fixed power optic. But I mean, you're not going to be using it to shoot 8-inch plates at a 3-gun match.
Another way to this is the way I like to. Sorry to interrupt you guys, but the best way for me to explain variable power to people is imagine a man at 100 yards at 1 power. Looks like he's 100 yards away.
Imagine
Imagine
what?
it at 4 power. He's 25 yards away.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it hard. It just makes it hard.
So you really need to realize you don't need that much magnification, and especially if you're talking about like a fighting rifle, you probably won't want more magnification because
Exactly. Yeah, because you're going to be.
it's too much.
Yeah, it's going to cause you to go all crazy trying to find the target and everything and stay on it. Because like that's one
Peripheral vision is
downside.
everything.
That's one downside to increased magnification too. Is like you see how much you're moving, and so like it prevents you like from wanting to take the shot. Like you don't have it zoomed all the way up. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm moving so much, but it's really not a whole lot on the target. But because you're so zoomed in, it makes it look like you're all over the place. So
I fall in the middle of the argument. Like, I understand that too much magnification can be too much, but I like having the option of magnification. So, like Vortex's 1 to 6 and US Optics 1 to 8, I think those are like awesome scopes because
Those are my favorite scopes ever, but they cost a lot.
exactly. I love my 1 to 4, and that's why it's on my go-to rifle. But I like having the ability to stretch that further. So maybe I'm only shooting 200 yards, but at 200 yards, I'm going to get a tighter group if I'm at 8 power than I am at 4 power. And that's just a fact. Like, you can't argue that.
and that's
So,
where like when I'm looking at I've looked into getting an optic for my AR, that's why I'm kind of wanting to make sure that the optic I get is when it's on 1 power, that's true 1 power.
mhm.
So that's a big thing.
True 1 power isn't that big a deal to me. If you train with your scope enough, like true 1 power is kind of overrated, I think. Because if you're at 1.2, like what's you're trying to use it like a red dot, so you're gonna not really focus on much other than your reticle, which
That's the
is
thing. That's why kind of like what I'm wanting. I'm wanting it for for competition because a lot of the to be honest, a lot of stuff is pretty close.
oh yeah.
So you want to
There
be
are
able,
very few true 1 power scopes, and they cost a lot of money. So
right. So the Vortex Strike Eagle, I think it's pretty close to being the true 1 power. I don't know. I think it's out now, isn't it?
the one that just came out.
Is it out now on shelves? Like, can you buy it? Because I know it's been like they've had it on back order for a while in a couple places. That's what I really want to get for my AR when I get done building it. But yeah, it just came out. It's like pretty much it's probably gonna take a
It's like a Viper PST, but 1 to 6 is what I'm
yeah,
understanding.
and it's gonna take a pretty large section of the market, I think, because like a lot of the 1 to 6 power scopes are real huge with a lot of the competition
Well, they're
guys.
expensive
And they're
because
all
they're using
they're
high
all
quality glass.
and they're all extremely expensive. And like the only like Loophole is pretty much the only people making them that are like. I mean, there's a couple other companies that are like hiring companies too, but Loophole's like pretty much the go-to company for a 1 to 6 AR scope right now. But they're like $2,000. So
Well, don't discount Vortex. They make a 1 to 6 that's better than most other. I mean, they're built tougher. Like the Vortex 1 to 6 is probably the toughest optic I've ever seen.
I'm talking about in that price range. Like
Yeah, you said that Leopold was how
that's
much?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The Vortex is that much too. That's why the Strike Eagle is going to be such a
Oh,
big
okay. I was like, I
Sorry,
don't know, man.
I
Leopold's a
forgot
bit
to
more
mention that.
expensive.
Yeah, Loophole. Oh yeah, Loopholes are pretty pricey, and so are the Vortex. The what is it? The Razor? No, what is it? Yeah, it's the Razor,
HD
isn't it?
Gen 2.
Yeah, it's one we were talking about earlier. It's a 1 to 6
Yeah,
power scope.
$1,400
Exactly.
for
So
most people.
then that's a lot of people don't want to pay that much or can't pay that much for an optic. They just can't justify it. So I don't ever see myself getting anything like that anytime soon.
I think most people would be served extremely well by buying a 1 to 4 power. like a Viper or a Bushnell MTAC or
Well, that's what I was gonna go
not
with. I was
Bushnell
gonna go with.
MTAC, Burris MTAC or a Bushnell Banner or something. Like I think that would fit
Mhm.
80% of people out there for their need.
I was gonna go with the Viper PST, and I was like, oh, but it's only 4 power mic. It'd be really nice if it had a little bit more 6 power, because that's like it'd cover all the bases
You
pretty
want to
much.
drop 4 times the bucks?
Yeah, exactly. So then, but then the Strike Eagle's coming out, so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like perfect. So that's exactly what I need.
I think Vortex is going to dominate the optics market pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm already starting to
Well,
like.
the working man optics, excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some people will never trade in their Night Forces or their Zeiss. I've shot a Zeiss before, or no, I didn't shoot it. I got a handle one. It was pretty nice.
They better be. They're freaking, yeah.
Hmm.
And I can actually attest to like the quality of those high-end optics. I work at Cabela's and I get to look through some of them like frequently. I like them, but to me they're not worth the money. Like once again, Vortex. I'm not a Vortex like fan
Junkie.
job. Well, I mean, I love Vortex, but it's not because they're in Wisconsin. It's not the name. It's not their cost. It's what you get for what you pay.
Hmm. Right. It's like,
They're building such incredible scopes, and they have a warranty that literally you can hit it with a sledgehammer and send it back, and they'll give you a new one.
yeah, that's what's really enticing about it.
Yeah, and plus it's an American company, like through and through, based out of Wisconsin.
Yep.
So
Yeah, they're definitely doing a great job. And another company like I want to try is I'd like to get some Redfield scopes because they're
mainly Oregon. Well,
yeah,
but I don't know if they're made.
Loophole owns them or whatever, and they use their I think it's pretty much like lower grade Loophole, so it still has some pretty good quality without
Yeah,
the name brand price. And I wouldn't mind getting one of those for I was talking about that redhead scope we have on
they're
our
cheap.
we have a redhead scope on our 260. I want to get rid of that thing. I'm gonna put like on my 17 or something, or my 22, and then I want to get like a red filled for the 260 or something, or maybe even something even better quality eventually.
Well,
They,
Redfield Revolution's a great scope, I can tell you from experience.
yeah, how much do they run roughly?
Not even 400, I think.
Well, that's not bad.
Not well, actually, I think they're just like maybe 300 if even.
Yeah, and heck, at that price, I could definitely get one from a 260. I mean, we have a 260, and I need to do some long range shooting with it, but it doesn't have a good scope on it. That's the thing, and I just haven't got around to it. And plus, it's kind of expensive to shoot. The 308 is going to be a lot cheaper, which is going to be awesome.
Yep.
Mainly because the military uses it, so that's what's great about it.
260?
No, the 308.
I was like, yeah, what the Rhodesian military.
The Rhodesian. The 260 is an awesome cartridge. Yeah. Only thing I'm worried about 260 is like when I get 308, I want to be able to go out and shoot I want to shoot several thousand rounds through it before I have to worry about it wearing down. And
Yeah, that's why I love 308.
the
It's not a barrel
260,
burner.
that's what I'm saying. The 260 might be it's a little bit
It is a
hotter.
barrel burner.
Yeah. So it's not made to go out and shoot thousands of rounds and still expect to keep the same accuracy. And they're not cheap, the barrels. So
Yeah, good luck finding a company that chambers that barrel.
that would be hard. You can buy them on Midway USA.
260 for what gun?
All you gotta do is buy it's gotta be the right contour Mauser barrel, is all it is. 'Cause it's just a Mauser action.
Okay, yeah, the threads for every bolt action are different, by the way.
Well, yeah, but
That's what I'm saying. Either way, if you can find one, right on.
I'm sure you could find one, or you get someone to modify one. Like, hey, I want this barrel, but put
No,
this
you
threads.
have to get a rifle. Like the bore has to be the correct diameter. That's the one thing.
No, I meant like modify the thread. I meant
The
like
chamber though,
no, not a chamber. I meant
like
like the threads so that it'd fit the receiver.
it's kind of 50-50.
Yeah. Well,
But
like I said,
yeah,
I'm not gonna be shooting that rifle enough to worry about it. But Yeah. Anyways, Mark, Digital said something. He said, if you're shooting at something close enough for 1 power, you should be using your irons. And I mean, I
I
guess that is.
disagree.
I mean, I guess that in some
No,
ways
I
you could say
disagree
so,
strongly.
but
Yeah, I will always put an optic over irons. Optics are going to be faster no matter what you're doing. An optic, a red dot, is always faster than irons.
yeah, because you're only instead of putting two things on the target and lining them up, you're putting one thing on the target.
Well, your
Exactly.
brain doesn't have to process a sight picture.
Exactly.
It's just like, oh, dot, squeeze.
It's like I see the red thing on the brown paper. Just pull the trigger.
Yeah, irons are great for 1960s, but now, well,
And
I
that's
mean, I say that like, I love irons. I have backup irons on every gun,
hmm
but they're called backup for a reason.
Yeah, and I almost thinking about putting backup irons on my AR for 3 gun, but I don't think I'd be using them any at any point, and that it would
You
be
never know. That's why they're there.
well, I think what I'll do is I'll have a pair of fixed irons that I'll just keep with me, and then if I need to, I can just pop them on if something like tragic happens to my scope, which I don't expect that, but it could happen. It's happened before. So, anyway, so I was worried that they would get snagged and stuff, and plus if I had them, I'd have to get offset because they wouldn't fit in my scope. I don't think, or I get like the flip down the folding sights. But, anyways, I guess we should move on to what about pistol optics? You guys have any pistol optics that you like to shoot a lot that you own?
No optics or pistols.
None? What about you, Jacques? Jacques?
I've shot like the Seymour and the RMR and stuff, and I like them. I just don't have one on a gun yet.
Yeah. What do you think, Pro Steel? Jacques? Where'd he go? I guess he's away from the mic. I have a Burris Fast Fire 3. I really like it. It's just I wish I would have. It's just kind of small, which is kind of nice in a way though, because it's low profile and everything. It's made for a pistol, but it's only a 3 MOA dot, so it's pretty tiny. So it's not as fast acquisition. And then I've shot the Seymours, and they're really nice. And I wish I had one for my. I think I want to get one for my 22 or for my Glock maybe eventually.
I think I prefer the uh, RMR over the Seymour. I just don't like where when I bring the Seymour up to my like line of sight, I feel like my gun is too low. I'm used to having my gun up higher, for normal sights, and so with
I
that,
was just about to say it sits really high. Yeah, that's what makes it so fast. So it's so big and everything. It's just so easy to see.
Yeah.
System. It's kind of funny. There was a guy shooting our last match, and he usually shoots open, so he shoots a Seymour, and he was shooting iron sight gun, and because he's so used to, like you said, the angle of the guns being so much lower, or excuse me, the where he looks, like where his sight is a lot higher than the gun. So when he was shooting his limited, he was shooting iron sights, so he was still looking like way over the top of the gun, and he was shooting so high. It was so funny. He's a GM, like he's extremely good, and he was like screwing up like crazy on still targets and stuff. It was funny though. He still beat me, but it was just funny watching him. Like, holy crap, why is he missing so much? It was mainly on still targets because I guess he aimed kind of high on them anyways. It's usually the best way to shoot them. Makes them fall faster. I don't know what happened to Jacques. He dropped out. Might be having internet problems, or his mom might have called him. Who knows? So, yeah, that's pretty much. I don't have a lot of, like I said, a lot of experience with the pistol optics. Got just the Burris Fast Fire. And
yeah, I'm a big fan of optics. Like we were just saying, how it's faster and whatnot. I put optic on everything. On my AK, I just put my aim point on there, and then my ARs, I have some sort of red dot or scope, and my 700 definitely has a scope on it.
Yeah, one thing I haven't shot optics on is a shotgun. I've never shot shotgun optics before. Have you ever done that? You ever think with a?
Yeah, same thing. It's just it's nice. With shotguns, a bead sight, it's pretty simple, but it's cool to have. I guess it's not as big of a deal compared to everything else, but it helps always.
Yeah, I don't think I'll probably have one. Well, if I get a shotgun for competition, I don't think the division I was planning on shooting, I don't think allows optics for shotguns, so I wouldn't have one. But it'd be pretty nice. I know it's like a big deal. People shooting optics, so it's like if the shotguns will destroy them if they're not built for it.
Yeah.
because of the recoil and everything.
Hi again.
Hey, welcome back. Did your mom catch you?
You're funny. You're so funny, man. I forgot to laugh.
I'll laugh for you.
You do that for me? Thanks.
You're welcome. We were just talking about optics on a handgun. Do you have any
I have an
handgun?
FNX 45 that I might drill and tap for a red dot.
You know what you're gonna get for it? Have you thought about it?
Whatever it is, I'd be custom drill and tap for it. It's probably an 8-point micro, honestly.
Yeah, that's one good point. Though there was a huge problem with
And
with
I would mount
mounts for
it
a while.
forward of the slide, not to the rear.
You mean forward of the chamber?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Much quicker sight acquisition, and you are not getting brass on the sight. And it's at the center of the slide instead of the ass end.
Yeah, and I guess you wouldn't really see there wouldn't be any smoke or anything because nothing really comes out of the chamber much. So yeah, you'd be pretty good. I didn't think about that. That makes sense, but that's kind of where like a Seymour sits, like on the race gun. It's pretty much dead center. It's like
Do you have any experience with the Seymour red dots? Because I want to try one, but I
yes.
am kind of afraid they suck.
What? No, they don't suck. They're just expensive. Have you seen?
Well, not compared to aim. Like, I look at aim points as the only optic I would really buy, red dot wise. So is the Seymour any good?
Yeah, they're great.
What makes it any better or worse than an aim point? Because I know nothing about them other than they're like a Cobra. You know, the Russian Cobra sight, but American, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's just a big giant red dot. That's all it is. It's pretty simple.
For handguns, there's no tube to look through. It's like on an aim point. If you mount an aim point on, say, a Glock or a 1911 or whatever, you're gonna look through a aim point micro. That's a tube you have to look through, so it takes slightly longer. Versus with the Seymour, it's just basically a dot just sitting there. And
Right,
so
you're
it's
just gonna
a
see
little bit
floating
faster.
Yeah,
glass
it's
with a
not a
dot.
spherical tunnel where you have to get past the walls. Yep.
Right. So
Yeah.
am I gonna go to war with the Seymour? No, but for competition, I would definitely take that over an aim point
Yes. Yeah.
on a
Yeah,
handgun.
I'm not concerned about competition. I just want my gear to last as long as it can.
Oh, well, the Seymours are super fast. That's true. Yeah. And the awesome thing is you can change the MOA. You can change the size of the dot in them, which is kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it? How do you adjust that?
It's like it's like a different. I think they call it I think it's the same thing as like what you call in a scope, like a diameter or something. That's what they call it. Or there's something that you have to buy like the set of them, and it goes all the way from like 3 or 4 MOA up to like 8 or 10, something crazy like that. Let me look. I'll tell you. Let's
Wow.
see. The Seymour Railway is like that one and the Serendipity are the two popular ones for competition. You know what's funny? Seymour makes a shotgun. I just thought I'd say that. Yeah, it's called the CMC-M1, and it's pink. Well, one of the websites pink. Anyways, back to the topic.
You can dirt code anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they call them the diode modules. And it's six different sizes: 2, 4, 6,
So
8,
does an
12.
actual piece. You have to change out. Okay.
Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 16 MOA. Holy crap!
See, that'd be awesome. I would want that on a handgun. Screw
Six,
precision.
16 MOA is a little too big. Trust me, I shot 8 MOA. And I was like, holy crap, this thing's huge. Like 8 or 12 would be about right. 16 would be, I guess 16 would be nicer for longer ranges, but
You're talking for competition type setup. See, that's the difference. I'm talking for like a fighting gun. I want the biggest ass red dot I can get without being retardedly big.
yeah, once you get so far, it's gonna cover your target. But I mean, if you're on a handgun, it doesn't matter that you're not gonna be
That's
shooting
what
that
I
far with a
mean.
handgun.
Like, why would I be using a handgun past
So
20 yards?
right. So I mean this. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess at 100 yards, it covers 16 inches, which is
Pretty
not.
big.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd be shooting 100 yards with a handgun, but at 50, it'd be 8, and that's about as high as I
Inside
want it to be.
chest.
Yeah, that's good. Like 50 yards is 50 yards isn't an unrealistic handgun distance by any means, and so yeah, I guess that'd be good for like fighting.
Yeah. Oh, I always looked at it. If it's on a handgun, I want gross target acquisition. It's on a rifle.
Now, if
It's a
you're
different story.
shooting if you're shooting 300 yards, a 16 dot, it's 48 inches.
Well,
So if you're shooting a midget,
let me just put
you're going to
a
be covering
16
all
MOA.
4 feet.
Put a 16 MOA in my AK. There we go.
Yeah. Now I will say that I would experience like that. I have a 3 MOA dot, and it's a little too small. Like it's insane. Like
Really, I love it. I have one of
it's
my
it's
primary
nice, but
arms
like
red dot.
for the speed, you got to look for it for sure. Once you find it, you're good to go. But you when you pop the gun up there, it's like, okay, where's this thing going to be at?
Yeah, I have mine on an AK and a low mount, so it's a bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the gun's not. You
I
have a
kind of have a
shield.
sighting plane instead of
Right.
it just being up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But
So what shot? We were talking about shotguns a little bit while you dropped out. You have any shotguns with optics?
I have a Benelli Nova, and I will never put optics on it because it's not worth the investment.
You what? You never put an optic on it because what?
I will never put optics on it because it's not worth the investment to me. Why would I drop money on that when I could put that money towards an optic for my AK or my AR?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
So
really
I'm not gonna do it.
the only
Plus, I have
application
ghost
for
rings on it, so why would I want anything else, really?
exactly the only application for shotgun optics I could see is for like slug guns and stuff for hunting because I've seen some pretty long shots with them, and then like for competitive use. But even then,
Another
iron
thing
sight.
I'll say. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Okay, the only thing I'll say about if you do mount optics to a shotgun, you really will want it on a cantilever mount to the barrel. I can tell you right now, something happens to your sight, or let's just say your sight's off. Well, if it's cantilevered to the barrel, then you know
Pop
it's
it
your
off.
sight, and it's not your barrel. Like it's so convenient to just have a barrel set up with that sight and just put it on, and it's zero guaranteed. Like no messing around, taking it off, constantly messing with it if it's on your receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Cantilever is the best possible mounting system for any optic, but it's not really viable for all optics.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna get to for my Vortex when I get the Strike Eagle for my AR, so I'm gonna get their cantilever mount.
That's why the FNH is awesome.
That's what
Or
you have
the
on yours,
Jacob
Jacob, right? It's
FNH.
the cantilever mount.
Cantilever, it's actually attached to the barrel, like it's welded onto the barrel.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about the one Jacob has on his ARs, cantilever for like the scope.
Yeah, it just puts it forward more.
Yeah. So yeah, that's probably what I'll get. But
Well, no, okay, on an AR, it's not attached directly to the barrel.
yeah, it's on the rail.
Yeah, it real cantilever's attached to the barrel. That's what I'm talking about. Like, otherwise, there's slanted mounts, is what I call them. They might be called cantilever, but they're not true cantilever. Like, they're just angled mounts. Do you know what I'm saying?
So here's a good topic we didn't cover. Are you done, Jock? I don't want to interrupt you. I guess so. Okay. But spotting scopes. I didn't even think about that because if you're shooting by yourself or with somebody, you have a spot. Obviously, if you have someone shooting with you, they're gonna want to have a spotting scope. But do any of you guys use one or have one? Nope. Hello.
Spotting scopes are nice for when you're sighting in or shooting with buddies.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think I'd want it.
That's really all I can say. Like,
But the thing is, oh sorry, if I get the 3 to 15 power, I mean, it's going to drive down range, go down range every time I shoot at 800 yards or even 500 yards to see where I hit. Unless I'm shooting still, which is what's nice about still. It's like instant. But yeah, so
not to derail us, but have you guys seen the Micro T2 sight?
mm-mm. Who makes
Aimpoint?
it? Aimpoint? No.
I want to know about this. I want to know if it's worth all the money they're asking, like 100 plus more.
Wow.
I would say no.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because the only difference it looks like is it's got a up armored turret.
Yeah, that's what it's a stronger T1, but there's never been a problem with a T1, so they're fixing a problem that's not there.
Like
Well-
a marketing gimmick. Is that what it is?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with ever making anything stronger because I mean then you're just more guaranteed that it's not going to break. but at $700 or whatever it is, I just think it's a bit much. When
Yeah,
it's
that's kind of why I'm like, I don't
Is it a
even
red
get
dot
display
sight?
pricing on it yet. It's so new.
yeah,
Is it a
when
red
a
dot sight?
regular T1 or H1 will work just fine.
Exactly. I'm like, I can get an H1 for $450.
How
Screw
much
that.
how much are loopholes red dot sights? The Delta Point, right? How much are
The
they?
hammer, holy crap, that thing's expensive.
How much are the Delta Points? Do you know off the top of your head?
A lot.
Yeah, that's good. That's one thing with loophole. They're really expensive. They have a lifetime warranty too, I believe. So
They better.
we've had several of those. Like my dad, he has. That's why he's had on his 7 mag since like the '90s. He's got one of the old Mark IIs, just standard 3x9x50 Mark II loophole, and it's been great. But actually, it stopped holding at 0 a couple years ago, and he hasn't sent it off yet to loophole. He's been hunting with other guns, so he's just been keeping it in the closet. But hopefully he'll get it fixed soon. It's a nice scope. It's older, but it's really nice glass.
I have one optic I can talk on that no one ever seems to bring up. J Point from JP Industries. It is an awesome little sight, and when I say little, I mean smaller than any other red dot I've ever seen.
Smaller than like a Burris fast fire.
Yeah, at
I'd
least
be
I'm pretty damn sure it is.
I'd be afraid
And
I'd break it.
it's made by JP Industries, who one of my instructors was one of their head gunsmiths for a while, and he told me about the stuff they were doing and how they were doing it. I was very impressed, not only by the quality of what he stated, but what I saw and what I heard from other people.
Mm-hmm.
But J points are an awesome sight, and they're like half the cost of a reflex.
What about EOTech? I know a lot of people hate on EOTech a lot, right?
I don't know why.
Isn't that the one that James Yeager hates, or not hate, but doesn't prefer?
I don't know why people hate EOTech. It's a great sight. It's tough.
So they're a little bit cheaper than the aim points, right?
Not a lot.
But between the two, they're by the general public, they're considered to be the lower quality one of the two.
It depends on what model you're getting, because you can find
Exactly.
comparable prices for each one.
Well, that's true. I mean, with any optic company, you go high enough, you'll get the good stuff if you pay for it most of the time.
With EOTech, yeah, there's pros and cons to both. So it just depends on what you're looking for.
Just get a side adjustable one. It's pretty much the only thing I say.
Right. I wanted to
Like-
mention while we were talking about spotting scopes. I forgot. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But don't buy the $60 one from Walmart. I forget the brand of it.
You better not say Ozark Trail.
Simmons?
Simmons. Yes, it's a Simmons.
Oh God, those things suck.
God, I bought it on a whim one day, like 2 years ago. I was like, yeah, I need a good spotting scope. I took it outside, and I was like, yeah, it works okay as long as you wait 20 minutes for it to stop being foggy when it adjusts to the temperature.
Yeah, most any optic you buy at Walmart will not be ultra high quality.
And so I was like, well, it'll be good for like plinking and stuff. So I set it up. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. And I'm like, I'll take it inside. And I didn't use it for a while. I used it a couple times, not really a whole lot. It was really hard to get it to be still. Probably because I didn't have a good tripod for it. I think I would say that if you're gonna have a spotting scope, one of the main really key aspects is having a nice sturdy tripod, because of that high magnification. If there's any movement, you're gonna go dizzy looking through it. So anyways, I had it for a while. I put it underneath my bed, and I was getting it out last fall during deer season. I was going to use it some outside just to shoot. And I was like, I'm going to take this outside, and I looked through it, and I couldn't see anything. Or I could see one corner of the scope was clear, like I could see through it. The rest of it was black. And I started shaking it. It turned out one of the objective lenses in there had just came loose. And I was like, what the heck, really? And I thought about trying to fix it, but I was like, yeah, maybe I'll just shoot it. Walmart wouldn't take it back, even though I still had the receipt, which kind of surprised me. Even though, well, it was like a year and a half later, but And I'm sure I don't think Simmons would take it back. Not without. They're like, oh, we'll replace it for you. I'm like, yeah, sure. Send me another crappy spotting scope. And they'd probably make you pay shipping both ways for like $30 or something crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So it'd be like, oh wow. Great deal, huh? So I'm probably gonna shoot it though. It'd be a cool video, I think.
I don't want to get us off topic because I know we're kind of supposed to start winding down. But I have an Primary Arms red dot, and it's one they discontinued making that they made forever. That's a T1 clone or whatever. That thing stayed on at 4 power for 3 months with like a half dead battery. So those
Nice.
are a great optic, not only in the battery department, but like they are rugged. I literally threw that gun in. I pitched it into concrete once, like dead on top of the scope. That's
Yeah,
a fully loaded AK.
that's a good thing to mention
It was
about
just
the
like
battery,
whatever.
though. Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, for $50, that's insane. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't have any torture tests with mine, so I have dropped my burst fast fire before on a wooden table with it on the gun, and it was fine. So, but it's a little bit more expensive. It's like they're running like 220, 230.
Yes, it's just a little bit more than $50.
Yeah. So, crap, I
By the
forgot what I was
way,
gonna say.
sorry to interrupt you. It's my last thing. Anybody that's trying to get a aim point co-witness with that site, the uh, the thing that the diode, the projector uh, in the housing is too high for an AK to co-witness. Like it'll block your sight picture entirely.
Hmm.
So for anybody that wants an aim point, yeah, get a real aim point. Then you'll be able to co-witness.
All right, sounds good. So, I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything. I know some people might not be as interested in it as the optics, but I mean, it really was a good chat for me, and I'm really excited to get my optics for my 308 so I can take it out and do some long range shooting. Pretty much what I take away from it is, buy a first focal plane, and pretty much all the other stuff. Just when you buy from company, it's always good. Like warranties, look for good warranties. Like we talked about with Vortex, it's always nice. And then just look for reviews and stuff. And like we said, there's that guy on YouTube, Tabosaurus Rex, or whatever his name is, has a couple videos on the SWFA scopes and just buy good stuff. Buy once, cry once, right? That's what they say.
Yeah,
So
buy ones, cry ones for everything.
yeah. So we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I know we did the show a little early tonight, but that's all right. It's just what worked out, and you can listen to it on iTunes later. If you're listening to it on iTunes, that'd be awesome. Go ahead and do that, and check us out on gunchannels.com. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of the chat. That's always where we have where we stream our podcast through the live, and you can participate over there and chat. And if anybody wants to join the Young Guns panel, feel free to send me a message over there. I don't have a. You can either, I guess you could leave a comment on the Young Guns page over there, or you can send me an email or a private message on Gun Channels. My channel name on there is Ballistic Expansion, so it's not the same channel name. I also have a YouTube channel for you guys listening who didn't know that already. Ballistic Expansion. I'm about to upload some new videos hopefully here soon. It's been a while. And so yeah, check all that out, and we'll see you guys around. Anything else you guys want to say?
America.
All right. Thanks for coming, guys. Take it easy.
See you, Jake.
Wait, how do I do this? Hang on. Oh, here we go. Stop
Where's the
broadcast.
ending